Hi all and welcome to my Scott Ryder tutorial for Mass Effect Andromeda. As I'm sure you're all aware, the default characters for Mass Effect Andromeda aren't especially gorgeous. I mean, they're not terrible to look at, but definitely not what I want to be looking at if I'm playing this for like 50 plus hours doing all my side quests as I do. Hands up to all the completionists. Woo! So I have spent probably more time than I would like to admit doing these perfecting this character, so hopefully you like him. So anyway, without further ado, Scott Ryder. So first things first, obviously choose whatever you like here. I'm sure we all have different preferences. I'm definitely a scrapper. I love my charge. Anyway, so onto our appearance. So first things first, I want you to start with head number 3. Not the prettiest guy in the world, but also not too bad. Pretty good starting point. Definitely changing that hair. Oh my god, that is disgusting. Okay, so first things first, complexion. I like to leave it at a 7 because I do like those eyebrows. I don't know, that cocked one looks quite awesome. I tend to darken the skin tone to a 2 just to go with the colouring that I quite like. So the brow height, I want you to take this right back down to 0. Gives him a bit of an angry, sexy look. Definitely loving that one. So brow depth, usually 10's okay. Usually I put it down to about a 9. Just a mid-range there. So the cheek height, we want to put that all the way down to 3. Those, you don't want to be cutting yourself on those cheekbones. They're quite ridiculous. The width right up to 20. Yes, bear with me. It doesn't look great right now, but we'll fix that very shortly. So cheekbone width, we want to put that right up to a 9. Okay, so this is so far so good. Alright, so chin. Chin height, I want you to put it right up to a 15. So it looks a little bit short at the moment, but it will come together nicely, I promise. Chin depth, we want a 17. So all the way up to 17. Beautiful. And the width down to a 3. So quite a narrow chin there. Jaw width right down to 5, which reduces that fat cheek look and gives him a nice sort of angular look to his face. Beautiful, right? Okay, the eye height, we want to drop it down to a 5. I don't want it to disappear into his eyebrows there. Eye depth to a 7, not too much of a difference. And the eye width right out to a 20. Don't want them too narrow. So as you can see, he's already looking a bit better. Mouth, okay, lip thickness right down to an 8. When the guys can't have thick lips, it makes their mouths animate weird. So anyway, especially this one. Mouth height down to about a 4. Mouth depth, I quite like to leave it mid-range, usually around about a 9. It's not too bad. And the mouth width, usually I leave it at about 13. That looks fine. Okay, now let's fix up his nose. Nose height right down to 0. So yes, I know it looks a bit rubbish at the moment, but once again, it is going to look better when we're done. Okay, so nose depth up to a 13. So get it out a little bit bigger there. And the width, we want it about a 13 as well. So looking quite ridiculous at the moment, as you can see. It's quite a large nose. So we're going to drop the size right down to 0. This fits a lot better on his face there. So it does look a little bit narrow, but as you can, like I'll show you, if I go up to the depth briefly, if I make it any bigger, it does look a bit hawkish. Not a huge fan of the hawk nose, so I'm just going to leave it at that, yeah? Alright, right back to 13, and beautiful. Okay, to the hair. So this is all just a preference thing. I quite like hairstyle number 3. I've used it in every single playthrough of my Scott character just sort of seems to suit the face I've gone with. But yeah, as I said, you can pick whatever you like. Hair color, I quite like the darks for Scott. Usually this color here suits his coloring a little bit. And facial hair, I never usually put facial hair on my guys. I quite like him clean shaven. The character looks good without it, and the complexion already has a bit of like a shadow there, but you can, once again, you can choose whatever you like. Okay, eye color. So for the outer color, I usually go quite dark, gives it a bit of outlines the iris there. Usually a sort of very dark green, so it gives a bit of color. That's usually about right. Inner color. Okay, so these I go for a yellow. So about a mid-range, sort of lightish yellow, gives it a very sort of olivey green color, which looks quite great in game. So I quite like having a bit of a light color in there. But once again, a preference. So eyeliners. So yes, he is going to have makeup. Our eyeliner style is 5. As you can see, it looks terrible at the moment. Drop the opacity right down to 4. So we just sort of want to give his eyes a little bit of definition. So definitely get rid of this red color. That's terrible. Usually I go for quite a dark brown. Outlines his eyes a little bit, gives him a bit of a shadow, bit of depth in there. That's perfect. Okay, once again the eyeshadow. So eyeshadow is an 8. What's the 8? Right up to the 8. Beautiful. And once again, drop your opacity. This one right down to 3. So we don't want it to look like he's wearing makeup. That would be bad. Okay, so once I get used to these color wheels, alright, and once again down to a dark brown just to give his eyes a bit of a shade. There we go. So see, it looks like it's a bit of a darker color around his eyes now. Gives him a bit of shadow. He looks quite hot. And lipstick. Yes, he is wearing lipstick too. So once again, up till 4. We're obviously going to change the color because that is horrendous. Okay, so the opacity right down to 3, and we don't want any gloss on his lips at all. So right down. So, and then obviously change our color right down and to brown again. So the dark browns I find just sort of give it quite a natural look and makes his lips not quite as pale. So yeah, somewhere around here. Just want him having a little bit of color in there. Otherwise they just, I don't know, they look too pink. I don't like them plain, but you know, once again, preference. If you don't want to put the lipstick on him, that's fine. But yeah, I just find it gives his lips a nicer color. Alright, beautiful. So anyway, so as you can see, like you can just fiddle around a bit till you're happy. So it's pretty natural looking. Alright, blush. I never put any blush on him. I don't think that looks so good on the guys, but I haven't really played around too much with it. So if you guys want a bit of a shadow his cheeks, make his cheekbones stand out a bit more, that's all up to you. Anyway, scars. So I sort of gravitate between having none at all and right, but my preference is 22. So if we go up to 22, quite like this one. I don't know, it sort of doesn't detract from the face, doesn't sort of interrupt the looks, but you know, makes him look a bit rough and sexy. Gotta love it. And scar intensity about 4. I don't put any tattoos on mine, but once again, that's your preference. Up to you guys. Do whatever you like, and that's it. Anyway, I hope you like this guy, and let's take you into an example of what he looks like in game. Obviously, very minor spoilers for the beginning of the game. Hope you guys enjoy it.
We made it. Deep breaths. You're gonna want to take it easy.
I've been taking it easy for 600 years.
Ryder, Scott, Recon Specialist, Pathfinder Mission Team.
Pathfinder team, eh? The ones finding us a home.
Can you make it somewhere tropical? Nice, warm ocean, summer year-round?
How about we get him a cup of coffee first?